Y'all just further in.
Ah, yes. The massive Chinese spy balloon.
We love ourselves some good old Chinese spying. Like that's not been happening for the past like decade beyond plus. I mean, we literally have a congressperson who sleeps or was sleeping with a Chinese agent. I mean, this stuff's in front of your face, guys. Just gotta keep your eyes peeled for it. Now, I found this just looking up more information and some more updates, just relative to like actual information that we have about the Chinese spy balloon. And that's when I came across this beautiful meme. We're gonna show this meme first. It is time to go. Was I a good balloon?
No.
It's Grim Reaper. But we let you finish your mission and transmit your data before shooting you down. And I thought that was pretty funny. This meme I only found because I had originally watched this little clip segment here from Tim Pool, tweeted it out from the Trump War Room. And this is a video clip from Fox News.
John, the Biden administration is trying to minimize this explosive situation in this past week, and the Department of Defense is claiming that there were 3 balloons, Chinese spy balloons, that entered the United States airspace during the Trump administration.
Did you catch that? She said there were 3 Chinese spy balloons, at least, that entered the United States airspace during Trump's administration. Now, I'm not sure who this dude is, but he supposedly is an insider to the previous administration, and this is what he has to say.
Well, it's not true. I can refute it. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper refuted it yesterday. Former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo has refuted it. But Maria, the American people can refute it for themselves.
So he says, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper refuted it. He said the American people can refute it. So I wanted to look this up. I wanted to know, is there any validity to this claim? And from the Daily Mail, revealed 3 Chinese spy balloons infiltrated the U.S. during Trump administration, but he never shot them down or told the public, as Republicans call for Biden to resign for putting Americans at risk. So I read this article and I had to do some digging because it didn't tell me where the source was who said that these 3 balloons had made it into the U.S. Because if the Department of Defense Secretary refutes it during that administration, I would want to know where that information came from that is saying otherwise. And it says right here, we love the vagueness. According to a senior Pentagon official. So then I had to go to a different webpage. I had to go to Politico. On Politico, I finally found where the actual source of information came from. This is Pentagon spokesperson Brig Gen. I don't know what that means, regardless. But I found the source for it. I can confirm that there have been other incidents where balloons did come close to or cross over U.S. territory. So then I pulled up, and let's see, this is from the actual U.S. Department of Defense, defense.gov. This is the transcript of an off-camera press conference they had. PRC government surveillance balloons transited the continental United States briefly, at least, which means there could be more, 3 times during the prior administration, and once that we know of at the beginning of this administration, but never for this duration of time. So he comes out and says there were 3 during Trump's administration, and once that we know of at the beginning of this administration. So I'm assuming that means there was a second balloon that nobody noticed. So that means 2 balloons now since Joe Biden's been president, and they're saying at least 3 during the prior administration. I bring this to your attention because you see how people have been acting once we got the information that there was a balloon just floating across the United States, just flying and going about its day, terrorizing every American with a shotgun on their porch, wondering, well, what is this massive thing in the sky? And I think it could be one of 2 things, right? It could be that our ability to, or I shouldn't say our, because it ain't me, the government's ability to censor and manipulate the traffic of information has either lost its grip, and that's why we now know of this balloon and not the previous ones, or the other reason why we were never told about, because you got to think about it like this. The media completely had it out for Trump during his administration. So for why they wouldn't be doing the same thing that's what's happening to Joe Biden right now during the previous administration didn't happen, tells me, like, because the media would have taken every opportunity to light up Trump about this. If it was crossing U.S. continental airspace and it wasn't being shot down, well, then this would just blow up in all these Republican and right-wingers' faces, because you can't keep saying that Trump would have shut it down if there's 3 recorded instances of it not. Which leads me to believe that which I believe that somebody is lying about it even getting into the airspace. And I'm sure it definitely didn't cross as many sensitive sites as this one did. And of course, because this is the culture war dynamic here, right? So we'll take one of the big Republican pundits, Ben Shapiro. Chinese spy balloon spotted over Montana. Conservatives, Biden should shoot it down. Media, that would be an act of aggression, you fools. Days later, the balloon is shot down. Media, this is an act of genius by Dark Brandon. Again, to me, this is almost like a money-making thing, I guess. Like, let's take advantage of the culture war drama, blah, 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 blah. Like if you're telling me since July of 2019 until now, we've had multiple instances of Chinese spy surveillance balloons entering U.S. continental airspace, and we've done nothing about it. This is just telling me there might not even be a war at all. We might have already completely lost. The United States, our reign is in our ability to dominate with air superiority. If you're telling me for the past 5 or so years, we've been allowing Chinese surveillance balloons into our country, means that's over. It's over. Like, we already said, no, we give up. And I think people are fearful for a good reason, because this is just it is so unprecedented. And so what? Say it's true that 5 years ago there was balloons. That's still unprecedented. It's just that nobody knew, and it wasn't public, and it wasn't in the news, which is also just baffling to me. A lot of this goes back to what I wanted to leave off with on my last video about the balloon. You need to be prepared. You need to keep your eyes open. When tensions are this high between, like, powers of our countries, like the US with Russia and China, we need to be ready. We need to be ready, prepared, and just actively always being aware. And I think a good point I heard about this was, if they weren't even worried about sending a balloon over our continental airspace, then it could mean that they are already willing to do that because they're preparing to do something that much worse. And I'll leave you with that. Think about it. Be prepared. Peace.